We have the beautiful Aimee here with us today to talk about movement and in particular your page and your business Movement for Life. How are you? Welcome.
Hi Candy, it's really beautiful to be back. I had so much fun last time, and to be honest, movement is my baby. This is what I have been passionate about. It's what I went to university for over 15 years ago.
What did you do there? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I went to university and studied sports science. I was really, really lucky. My dad said to me for my whole childhood, do what you love, just follow what you love and find someone to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
And somehow I got there. Like, it didn't happen straight away, but I knew I wanted to go to university. I loved sport. I was very athletic as a teenager. And so I was like, wow, sports science. It's kind of like, I guess, what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely went through times in my life where I moved away from that, and then I came back. I did a postgraduate in exercise and rehabilitation. So I did the theory and the prac to be an exercise physiologist. However, towards the end of my prac, which is about 500 hours in hospitals and physios and work placements, I actually decided to walk away, much to my mother's disdain. She was quite devastated and didn't understand it at all. But I chose to do that because what I had witnessed in my prac was all of these students who at one time had passion and believed that they could help people, just couldn't. They would get into these systems, get into the hospitals, get into ready-made kind of, your mining, health assessment type places, insurance claims, and the way allied health system tries to help people, I never saw results, and these people never saw results. And I'm sure there are many of you out there who potentially may have a healing back or a healing knee or a healing shoulder, and it's just kind of become this issue for the majority of your life.
Forever.
Forever. And it really doesn't have to be that way. So yeah, I decided, I knew there was something deep within me that just said, look, I can't sign away my views and my beliefs and the results that I get into this code of ethics. And that's really what happens when you become a doctor or a physio or any of these other things. You're like, okay, you've got like this box that you need to work within, and I know that it's there to keep people safe. So it's not that I'm against it, but I'm not for it either.
Yeah, just didn't align with you.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't align with me, and what I have been able to I guess birth into fruition is, as you said, this business that is called Movement for Life.
Perfect timing. Look at that.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, over the last 15 years, at 19, I was running functional movement classes for pregnant mums and the local community in my small country town. I loved the football, if you guys know the big physio football. I was pregnant at 19, and I was starting to change how I moved. Prior to that, I was in state netball, state athletics, like working out at the gym, wanting to get really kind of like strong and sore, and I loved that soreness. And then moved into being a mother and how that changes your whole outlook on life and on fitness. And over the last 15 years, I've really just kind of delved into all different modalities and how we can reduce dis-ease in our physical body. Now, Movement for Life has evolved into movement of the body, movement of the mind. You and I are both mindset coaches and NLP practitioners, so that helps people with their body, and also movement of energy. We also both know the importance of energy, not only within us but around us, and so Movement of Life has evolved over the years, but my baby and my original passion was the physical body, and really our birthright to understand how we move, understand what functional fitness is. There are some really, really simple movement patterns and simple main points that if we got taught in schools, everyone would be healthy. Everyone would be pain-free.
Yeah.
I have a little party trick that I like to catch the attention of people.
Okay.
So I'd love to show you guys.
Let's do it.
This is something that I whip out. So for everyone, I don't work out at a gym. Okay, I don't work out at a gym. I have a moving life. I have a passion for life. So guys and gals out there who really are into fitness, I'm sure you guys know what a piston squat is. And look, when I worked in the gym, very few people could do a piston squat, and I haven't trained for this for about 5 years. I simply just whip it out to show people what it's like when you live a functional life. So a piston squat is when we pop out one leg and we come all the way down to the ground, and then nice deep breath, come all the way back up on one leg. So, yay! That's me, and that's my party trick. I hope I grabbed your attention because, as I said, it's about creating these habits. It's about creating these movement patterns in our life so that we can maintain that. I originally trained for that over 5 years ago.
Yeah. Muscle memory, hey.
Muscle memory, and then just living these active lives, understanding my body, understanding how to sit, how to stand, how to clean the house, how I can pick up my children, how I can do my shopping, how I can just walk and hold myself. And so it's not about, you know, like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, my posture, and they sit up straight. And it's like, look, you can sit like this. It's totally fine to sit like this, as long as there are other times in your life where you're opening up and you're stretching out. Yeah, and we're just creating that balance and that understanding.
A lot of people think the mind and the body are two separate things. What do you think about that?
Look, they're different, definitely two different entities, but they are so intertwined and interlinked. And so that's the reason why I actually went and studied mindset and NLP, was so that I could empower those who wanted to change their body first. So a lot of my clients come to me for the physical transformation, and they either want to heal an injury. How many of us have pain or disease in our body?
It's part of being human.
It is, but it doesn't have to be if we learn how to listen, and if we learn how to move, and if we learn how to live with movement. Or they come to me wanting to lose weight, wanting to get fitter with certain goals. And that's great if you're really motivated and you know how to kind of incorporate these kinds of things into your life. But it's often very challenging, especially if you're a mother. I work a lot with mothers, or parents I should say, because hey, time is a real thing, and you know, not a lot of mums want to go to the gym for an hour every day. Not a lot of mums have the time to go to the gym every day. And moving away from mums, not a lot of people want to go to the gym. I actually am going to touch on the health environment of a gym, and I've worked there on and off over the years, and I actually feel like the gym is quite an unhealthy place to be. They're often promoting all of these supplements that are really not good for our bodies. When I did work in a gym, I was known as the kind of like tree hugger personal trainer. I got nicknamed that because I was natural, and it was really sad, and in the end I did have to leave, because these young guys in their 20s and early 30s would get sold these kind of pre-workout things and get addicted.
Messes with the chemical balances, hey?
Hugely messes with the chemical balance. You do not want to go to a toilet in a gym.
I don't think that far.
You do not want to go to a toilet in a gym. And they would get the shakes, and they would not be able to work out without having this kind of hit. And so they would come to me and ask how they could get off this product, what they could do naturally instead. And
so if you have any questions for Aimee after the live, she can answer any questions about this that she's about to cover most of what the basic stuff is.
Absolutely.
But feel free to ask, what is it that I like, because each individual scenario is different, right? So if you have an issue that you're dealing with and you need a bit of advice or just a nudge in the right direction, feel free to ask some questions. And Aimee, if she doesn't get back to you on this live, she will come back to you in the comments later on.
Yeah,
and answer that for you.
This is my real passion. Like it has evolved over the years, but if we can take back control of our physical body, and if we can just, like, everyone deserves optimal health and vitality. That's really all. I wish everyone in the world had optimal health and vitality. And whether you start that journey through your physical body, whether you start that journey through your mind, or whether you start that journey through clearing your energetical field, it really doesn't matter.
As long as you get started.
Exactly, as long as you get started. And then what you'll find is the others will kind of follow on anyway. You'll start to heal the physical body, and then you'll be like, oh, now my mind is healing, and then you'll start to heal that, and then it'll just become this big cycle, which really is, again, why Movement for Life has evolved, because that's kind of the need of humanity, really.
What would you say to someone trying to get away from those pre-workouts and the stimulants? Because obviously things like adrenal fatigue and, like, you can tell us all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a definite chemical addiction that you're going to have to be aware of, and potentially wean yourself off, but also know the power of mindset, because we all know that actually addictions are sold to us as being very hard to break, and a lot of the time they're actually not. If you are experiencing shakes and things like that, hey, this is the reality of having a chemical. Some of them the cycle is they get brought out and then they get banned, and then they get brought out and then they get banned, because actually they're very close to speed.
Wow.
So they're actually almost illegal.
It's not really a surprise that there's a bit of a reputation for, like, frequent gym users to be quite aggressive and have testosterone issues or whatever. And so this is back to the environment of the gym. I will come back to how we can get off them, but I also want to mention how addiction, and we spoke about this in Conscious Relating, addiction is a real thing. And if you are the type of personality who enjoys the gym, then we can also get addicted to that as well. And this is when, you see these people that walk around like this is not functional fitness, these people can't move, they are not in comfort. And so functional fitness to me is about actually having a full range of motion, very pain-free, very fluid, exactly. And you've still got muscle and you've still got softness. So it's this balance of muscle and softness. I remember watching, off the topic a little, but I remember watching a bodybuilder who was massive and looked very, very intimidating have a spar with this scrawny little jiu-jitsu master. And everyone put money on this big bulky guy, and the jiu-jitsu guy won because he had not only the strength, but he had the flexibility and the long-term fitness. Whereas this big weightlifter was pretty much puffed out in the first 15 minutes because he didn't do any cardio, he didn't do any long-term. And the heavier you are, the tighter you get. So,
and they literally can't move. And so this is where pain and disease comes into our physical body. It's when we don't have range of motion. So I have clients who come back to me, they no longer, even though I am not an allied health professional and they can't claim rebates from me, they come back to me because they are healed, because I educate them on how to heal themselves. I give them movement patterns, I teach them about posture, I teach them about muscle activation, and they walk away empowered. And they really only come back to me for a little bit of manipulation because, again,
fine-tuning.
Releasing, muscle releasing, bringing energy work into it as well. And so again, this is why I don't sign my life away to the allied health professional, because I incorporate all of the different modalities to get results. So back to how we can come off of these products, and the answer when we're detoxing chemically from anything is to really nurture the body. So educate yourself, know that you are going to potentially be having some symptoms, flushing the system out with lots of water and lemon, potentially even going to a sauna to speed up the process, maybe weaning off if you're really wanting to be gentle on yourself. But most powerful thing that you can ever do if you're not wanting to use a pre-workout and you're just wanting to still get in that buzzed up frame of mind is to use your mindset and to shift your physiological state. Now, Joe Rogan does this beautiful, I remember watching a podcast or something of his YouTube and just thinking, oh my God, this guy's a legend. And if you are watching along at home and if you're wanting to really activate some energy within you, then I will show you guys and play along and see if this works and see if you get pumped up. But instead of shaking your pre-training and then having a little drink, you can literally just stand up, get in the mirror and just be like, like stomp your feet and pound your chest and and like all of a sudden there's energy in my body, yeah, and like Candy's there's energy in Candy's body as well, you know. Just from watching. I'm hot, I'm energized, there's blood pumping. It's exactly the same as what pre-workout does. Now, so imagine doing that for say 2 minutes, yeah, where you're just pumping yourself up in the mirror, either at home before you get down there or in the toilet or the shower. Hey, if you want to do it in front of everyone else, go for it. You might create this new trend and really inspire others as well. It's all about being a leader, I think, in creating change if you're really
certainly a lot cheaper than pre-workout.
Definitely, and that's the power of the mind, yeah. So the hardest thing you're going to find overcoming the pre-workout is that your mind is going to say that you're tired. Your mind is going to say that, I'm not getting that buzz. I'm not getting that hit before I go to the gym. So you're going to have to create that yourself.
Totally.
The way you do that, jump up and down, do some push-ups, do some star jumps, bang, beat your chest, whatever it is to shift that state.
Some other ways to do it as well is so that's your kinesthetic forms. They're the easiest and quickest to organize because you can just create them at lib. But the other thing you can do is have yourself a playlist of music that gives you that higher vibe, or the days that I'm on my way to the gym, I like to walk or ride there because if I take the car, I'm cold when I get there. I just do yoga, I don't do weights or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, I like the days that I take music to listen to on the way are the days that I'm fully energized, and the days that I don't take music, I'm like, come on, Ken, you can do it.
Yeah. So all of those things of physical touch, changing the state by jumping or whatever it is, and absolutely finding some really, really pumped up music to get you going.
And then the visuals are to get a visualization of yourself in the past or the future when you're in your optimum state, when you're, not just looking great, but feeling great energetically and spiritually, in every way. There will always be an image that comes to mind when you're in that, I can do it. Some people that's lean, some people that is just feeling amazing. But there's obviously different visuals, audios, and kinesthetics that you can have that will bring you into those states. So that if you're not fully in your kinesthetic, then get your visuals flat. If you're not either of those two, get your audio sorted.
Absolutely, because different things will work for different people. And this is also a big passion of mine in Movement for Life, is to find what works for you. And so if the gym works for you, amazing. Just try and have a healthy relationship with it.
Yeah.
If yoga is your thing, amazing. If you're the kind of person that's I just hate exercise. And there are people out there.
That's the old me. That's a laugh of recognition.
I just hate exercise. It's okay, so how about we shift this train of thought and we make it about movement? How about you shift this train of thought and we just make it about exactly what you said, feeling better. Can we bring that visualization in to a time and a place where you felt amazing and your health was amazing and you could keep up with your children, or you could achieve these goals that you're wanting to achieve. And so habit hacks are something that I incorporate into all of my programs, again because most of my clients are looking to heal an injury or dis-ease. I don't do too much personal training these days. I have certain clients who come to me for wanting to get fit enough to get on the mines, or wanting to do this to get on the mines and that sort of thing. But mostly I am passionate about healing dis-ease and injury. And to heal dis-ease, it's not about, and there's scientific evidence that shows we used to believe that if we lived a sedentary lifestyle, we could go to the gym for an hour once a day, and that would counterbalance, that would counteract the sedentary lifestyle. Yeah, it's totally not true. Okay, so actually what we should be doing to counterbalance our sedentary lifestyle, if you are an office worker or someone who, a bus driver or something like that, you need to be getting movement throughout the day.
Totally.
Now they suggest every 20 minutes. Realistically, we've got to keep things real.
If you have the opportunity to do it, but
and some things that I say into particular to office workers are, what is something that you do multiple times a day? So, great, you open emails every half an hour. All right, so every time you open an email, you're actually just going to sit forward on your chair, take your hands over your shoulders, inhale, exhale, press up and stand up into a squat. You might have a bit of a shake here. You might read your email while you're standing up, and then you just might sit back down. Mm-hmm. So you're not having to add any extra time to your day. Yeah. You're simply adding in activities to things that you already do. Mm. So another one that I like to do, whether you are an office worker or whether you are just a normal human wanting to incorporate more
office workers are totally abnormal, right?
Well, this one's great for anyone, and that's why I say a normal human, because we all jump on Facebook. We all answer our phone and scroll. So again, a deep squat is a movement. You might actually have to hold this on for this, but a deep squat is where we come right down to the ground. There we go. So you can see here, I'm sitting right down nice and low. My hands are in. My back is nice and square. Now, I don't know how many people can do this, but not a lot of my clients can actually get right down that low without any pain or discomfort. Now, I used to come home from I would get the kids off to school, I would go and do my post-grad, I would go to work, I would come home, do the after-school thing, and then I would go back to work. And then when I came home, I would come home and I would make a cup of tea, and I would go to my mum. I was living with my mum at the time, and I would sit in that position for nearly 15 minutes while I sip my tea and while Mum and I debriefed and connected.
So good for the spine.
So good for the spine, so good for loosening up the hips. How many of us have lower back pain? How many of us have a healing kind of lower back area and the hip area? And so it's these sorts of wisdoms, habit hacks that we can do to start to incorporate more movement patterns in our life that are going to enable us to be pain and disease free. Anybody who comes to me with back pain or a healing back, I ask them to do that. They can't, without fail. You get to be able to do that and your back pain will be fixed.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Get there.
Yeah. And so these are, again, another habit hack that I love to tell people is, so a lot of people have healing shoulders. So many people are living with a painful shoulder.
Living like this.
and they just think that it has to be that way, and they end up in their 50s or 60s getting cortisol injections, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm pain free for a month or 2 months, and then they get another cortisol injection, and then they end up having surgery because they're just hiding the Band-Aid fix, hiding the underlying cause, and then it's just getting.
And anyone that knows much about cortisol knows it's just destroying the liver and the kidneys and all of your organs, because your body does have to release it in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, habit hacks for me are attaching things to your daily life. The first thing I would teach somebody is posture, how to, and actually what I might do is I might release to Candy, I have these videos that I release to my clients, and as a bit of a bonus, I'll release them to Candy tomorrow. And if you're interested, then you can learn the basics of posture, and then the 3 main functional movement patterns that I believe every single person on the planet needs to learn. And if you incorporate these into your life, I almost guarantee that your pain will decrease and your functionality will increase. even to the point of you may actually cure all of your pain, because they're just...
If you're committed, it'll happen.
Yeah. And so, as I was saying, another one is I teach people to kind of sit like this, do this exercise here, and you can see that my back is nice and straight, my elbows are in. And so what this does is it actually gets our scapular working. So for most of us, we think that shoulder pain comes from our shoulder, but actually our shoulder movement originally stems from right down here. And because we are sat in chairs at school for our whole life, we all end up kind of hunched over with kyphosis, and these tiny little activating muscles in here don't actually work, and then therefore our shoulder becomes impinged.
Turn around again for a second. The way I was originally taught is that the muscle from the middle of the spine to the shoulder blade and the muscle from here to here, they all rely on each other. So if these guys become too tight, these guys will loosen out too much and you end up looking like this.
Yeah.
Whereas when you train the shoulders down, these guys begin to become like a plate that holds the weight of the upper body and allows these top traps to relax. So by doing that exercise that you're just doing there, Aimee, go ahead. Yeah, that brings these lower traps into tension and releases these upper traps, training your body to do what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely. And I'm really focusing my attention on this area.
It's a proper squeeze. Yeah.
And it's less is more.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I love about rehabilitation of most people, is that I get to really kind of pound into them this life lesson that we try too hard.
Yeah, we just have to release that for everything else to work the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, just slow it down, breathe, feel, and just like try a little less harder. We all want to get to this end result tomorrow. I'm gonna be fit.
Gonna come out of the gym tomorrow looking like Annie.
Yeah, no. And then it's like, and then we kind of just peter off because it doesn't have. It's like, no, it's a journey. We take these little steps to get there. So attaching things to the kettle boiling, attaching things to doing your teeth, attaching things to opening your email, attaching things to scrolling Facebook, to talking on the phone.
Squats when you're getting things out of the dryer.
Oh, dude, deadlifts when how many times are you picking stuff up off the floor as a mom, or when you're cleaning the house, and like deadlift it, get a bit of a stretch happening, you know, stick that booty out and get a nice stretch. Even one of my dreams is I'm going to create this I guess just this ebook or this series for mums, for new mums, because as a new mum, I felt like I had lost almost everything. Friends, time, life,
young mums.
Body, exactly.
Not everyone was having kids when we were.
No, but yeah, I was 19, and so I was really lucky in that I worked in one of the first female-only gyms in WA. It was at Edith Cowan University back in 2004 or something, and I was witnessing all of these women in their 40s and 50s and 60s who had incontinence, who hadn't done anything until kids had grown up, moved out of home, and now they've gotten their selves back, and now they were like, oh, I want to come back and like reclaim my body. Yeah. And it's never too late. But goddamn, it's harder when you're 50 than just maintaining it all the way along. Yeah. And so as a new mum, you have this perfect little bundle of joy that needs your attention all the time, and that wants to be on your body all the time, and that you're picking up and moving and all of these things. And if we just knew how to do that safely, if we just knew how to hold our body, how to counterbalance, how to heal the areas within us that have been stretched and pulled and weakened and all of these things, then we would be able to maintain our fitness and our health simply through living our life.
Totally.
Simply through being an active mother and an involved mother and knowing how to. Because most mothers are exhausted from how much energy we expel. And the only reason that we are creating dysfunction in our body is because we're tired and we're uneducated as to how the body needs to move. We don't know how to hold our abdominals tight. We don't know how to lift our baby in and out of the car. You know, like I remember having my little baby and I'd do shoulder presses with them, you know, but it was slow and it was controlled and it was in form. And then as your children get bigger, like you've got this weight that gets bigger with you, you know, it's like it's the perfect relationship if we're educated and if we have that mindset of, I'm going to be this amazing role model for my family, because as mothers also, we influence our family.
Yeah.
And so we either don't go to the gym because we're fully in mother mode, or we put Bobs in a creche and we go to the gym without them. Imagine if we could incorporate a life where we were playing with them.
Totally.
And we were laying on the ground and we were doing our movement, and they were laying on the ground playing with each other.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're creating this amazing bond. And we're teaching them how to live really healthy, active and functional lives. So
they totally follow suit.
They do. That's okay. They do. And, you know, most of the time we inspire our partners and things like that as well when we start to do these things, because we're living by example.
Yeah. And while we're here also, I've got new offices in my wellness centre over by Carousel, and also the yoga lounge down in Northam. So I know that the people living in Northam probably won't make it to see you and vice versa, so there's no issue with me saying that Teresa at the yoga lounge does postnatal and prenatal yoga, and she's got a huge focus on incorporating the child instead of just having the kids sit there. She's saying it's a very big thing for me that if one of the babies starts to stir, we incorporate the child into the yoga. And so I feel like
my body's just coming alive, because it just makes me so happy when I hear that.
Yeah.
And every single one of my classes that I have ever run, children are welcome.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing to overcome is generally the parent. Oh, I'm sorry, my child, and they shush, and they shush, and they apologize for them being children, and they get frustrated because this is meant to be their time. And I totally understand that mothers need their time, and if you want your time, create that.
Yeah.
And if you are ever exercising and your child wants to be involved, oh my God, please welcome that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't apologize.
No. And how, you know, you welcome them. And kids love exercise and movement and play.
Totally.
Yeah.
Teresa did a fundraising, I think it was Saturday or Sunday of last weekend, for period poverty. And her son was at the front of the room doing the yoga poses with her. And I don't know how old he is, maybe 7 or 8, but you could just see that when children are invited into these environments like you're talking about, it's just so natural for them. And he's like in front of the room of women, like totally confident, not a problem.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah. And this is how we create healthy humans for the future.
Yeah.
Because as you know, patterns and behaviors are formed in the very early stages of our life, potentially 0 to 7 and a little bit later. Yeah. And so if we're getting out and we're getting active and our children are seeing us look after our bodies and be in love with incorporating movement, then they follow suit. Yeah. And, you know, on that note, and the reason I showed you my little party trick in the beginning is to show you that you don't have to be working out every day. All right, people look at me and they think, oh my God, you know, like you must be whatever. I don't even know what they think, but I'm not, you know, I eat
elastic yogi.
Yeah. and you know, like, so my form of fitness is handstands, because I love being upside down, and headstands, and playing with my kids. You know, we walk the dog, and when I walk the dog, I run. But I'm not
stressed.
I'm not stressed. And you know, like, we have a hanging bar. I'm going to get to the 3 main movement patterns that everyone should. I say should. It would be amazing if you incorporate it into your life. But those little hanging bars, they kind of go over a door frame. They're about $12 from Big W or Kmart. And we have one in our kitchen door frame, and all of us hang on it all of the time. And sometimes we do pull-ups, and my kids, you know, and they go through phases, especially the boys. Sometimes they're really lean and strong, and they can do like 10 chin-ups, and then they come back 2 months later and they've kind of like, they've had not a growth spurt, and they've kind of like gone out a little bit, and they're like really heavy, and like all of a sudden they can't even do 1 chin-up. And like, what a beautiful lesson to talk about how we change and how we can just kind of accept these changes without shying away and then never doing anything ever again, because
understanding the body has seasons just like the weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I will jump into these 3 main movement patterns, and the first one that I believe we should have is the squat. Modern life, the invention of chairs, the invention of tables and of benches has created this body that doesn't get used how it should. And in hunter-gatherer times and before we had furniture, we would sit on the ground, we would lay on hard, mats, it wouldn't be on the ground, but it would be animal skins and leaves and things. So our sleep was almost like a realignment of our physical body, whereas these days, especially if you have misalignment in your body, you are going to definitely end up making that worse on your mattresses and those sorts of things. Actually having bare feet is...
I didn't understand that.
Hi Siri.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Modern humans looking after themselves.
I love that. It did put me off my train of thought a little bit. But
alignment, sleep,
and the functional movement pattern. So the first one is the squat. If you can't squat, please reach out and get some tips on how you can start to incorporate that into your life. You do something holding on to like the edge of a table. If you've heard of a TRX or a suspension trainer, the single most beneficial piece of equipment that anybody could have in their life. A TRX is the original version, which is the Navy SEALs kind of invented it to work on boats and things like that. It's literally like it goes over a door or over a beam, and it's just 2 straps.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I train for my piston squat. Mm-hmm. It will help anybody get down into a functional squat and get back up. I have clients in their 50s and 60s and 70s, probably even in their 80s, who have knee problems, hip problems, and with a TRX or a suspension trainer, you can do just about anything.
Shout out to Aimee too. Back in the day, my glutes wouldn't engage, and I think it was just distension, holding babies all the time, and locking everything.
Yeah.
So not needing to use muscles.
Yeah.
Or not prioritizing it. And the way she got me to do it was to be off of the wall and with one of those gym balls behind me to glide up and down.
Yeah.
To get my butt to start to work. Thanks.
Love you, Gail.
Thanks,
too.
Gail.
We both know Gail. I actually get that first job that I had in that females only gym was with Gail back in the day.
She was on the show recently. She's got the Powerhouse. Have you been there?
I have been there.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well done, Gail.
Yeah, love Gail. Yeah, so the squat is definitely the very first movement pattern that I would encourage every single person to start working on if this is something that you would like to do, creating more functional fitness, more functional movement in your life, and less pain and dis-ease. The second one is the hang, which I mentioned also as well. So again, you may need to purchase some equipment for these. I think the suspension trainer is $15 from Aldi, and the hanging bar is $12.
She's found it on a budget.
I work a lot with seniors and single mums, and my other big passion is making things affordable.
Yeah.
So yeah,
value for money kind of gal.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a veranda, then you can use a veranda. And the hang, and again, actually, I will show you again.
Hold up. Go ahead.
So with the hang, quite often what we do is we come up here like this, or we go straight into like a chin up, which is from our arms. And what we want to do is we want to bring our shoulders away from our ears. And literally it's just this, inhaling up. And down. And so again, it's just that really small activation of the shoulder blades, starting to get some really functional movement within the shoulders, and from there we can then incorporate and advance the exercise. But the hang is just fundamental for shoulder health, also for lengthening the spine, also just for grip strength and holding your own body weight. Again, I had maybe 50-year-old women who would never believe that they could hold their own body weight. And after just a few weeks, if you're doing it every day, these become actually really, really achievable.
You're normal.
Yeah, you're normal. Yeah. And so on that note, also, what I encourage you to do is attach them to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So all my clients who get the results and heal, do what I say, number one. And what I tell them to do is to do it at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner. And so we're not going in, as I said, adding an hour into our day, going to the gym, going outside of the home. They are given an array of movement patterns depending on their injury or dysfunction, and they're generally always the same, which is what shits me about people who don't heal, or who allied health professionals who can't heal people. They're generally all the same because our bodies are the same. They all are functional in the same way. The biomechanics and the posture works the same way. So yeah, it really does become quite simple, and you just attach it to these, the kettle boil. We might squat as the kettle boils. We might do waiter as we're cooking in the dinner, or we're waiting for the toast to toast. We might hang, and it's in a doorway, and so we just hang as we're walking through the door. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to hang for 30 seconds, and so I'm getting small amounts all throughout my day.
Yeah.
So we've got the squat, we've got the hang, and then my last movement pattern is more of an exercise. I call it the press, and I call it the press so that you disassociate from what you would think a push-up is. Because I laugh when I see I laugh when I see a lot of. Actually, here's a funny story. My son was training for T-ball. And I don't know, I think we were late, and the coach was like, 10 push-ups. And my son's like 8 at this time, and he gets down and he smashes out these 10 push-ups, and the coach, his mouth dropped, and he was like, I've never seen push-ups. You're amazing. Those are the best push-ups that I've ever seen in my life. Because we're kind of cheaters, you know, like again, we want to smash out 15 push-ups, but our back's all saggy and we're not getting all the way to the ground and we're not engaged. Like if you can actually do a full push-up with form and function and elbows tucked in and everything in alignment, oh my God, you're incorporating your abdominals.
You're winning.
Everything. And most people need to untrain very unhealthy patterns and programs and retrain in another way. But like I said, I will share those videos with you guys so that you guys have some references, and you can let me know how that goes, if you'd enjoyed them and those sorts of things. And yeah, wonder what else I have to say about movement for life.
What do you think the relationship between mental health and movement is?
Oh, my best friend comes to mind. I'm gonna share a story, and I live in the outer northern suburbs of Perth, a smallish town, beachside town, and I fell into the job of running their local community exercise classes. So it was hosted by the city of Wanneroo. They were very affordable, so I got a big range of people, and we did a mums and bobs class, and we did a seniors class, an over 50s. And my best friend, being my best friend, was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to come along because, you know, she's going to support me. And at this stage, she has been diagnosed with ADHD for her whole life and has gone on and off medication for most of that time.
Yeah.
Very turbulent, and I know she won't mind me sharing her journey because she's such an inspiration to so many.
She'd share it if she was here.
She would, she really would. And I'm gonna get all butterfly again. And so very turbulent in emotions and life, and in particular emotions and the mental struggle of somebody who knows so deeply that they do not want to be on medication, and yet when they come off medication haven't got the tools or the resources to keep themselves happy and safe and healthy. And so she came along to these movement classes, and to witness her. There was a lot of imbalance in her physical body, and being my best friend, I was very aware of the up and down of the emotions. Within a couple of weeks, she was running on a regular basis. I think within maybe a year and a half, she fell in love with handstands. I love handstands. She fell in love with handstands. Within about a year, maybe a year and a half, she had taken herself off to India to do her yoga teacher training.
Amazing.
That in itself, for someone with anxiety and mental health problems,
big deal.
Huge deal, like ridiculous. She ended up getting a job at Ninja. She still works at Ninja in Osborne Park.
Go say hi.
Go say hi. She looks like me, just lots of dreadlocks, so you'll know who she is. I don't want to say her name, but I should. I will. I'll say her name at the end. Not one she's completely off medication, more in control of her emotions than she has ever been in her whole life. It totally empowered in not just her physical fitness, but her mental health, her relationship with herself, with her partner, her relationship with life. Everything has been transformed. She now runs her own exercise classes. She actually took over the business from me when I went and did and moved on, and like the pride is just phenomenal. She recently did her first performance for Neuro Circus. Neuro Circus is a circus that has just opened up mental health, mind, to prove the link between movement, play, community in mental health.
Drop the link for us.
I will. And she's a handstand, so she's one of these people that 3 or maybe 4 years ago, I don't know exactly, time just blends, could not do anything. Could not do anything. And she's now one of these people that presses up in the hand. She's overtaken me. Presses up in the handstand and the legs do all these funny things, and she's now training for a one-handed handstand. And so for mental health, it's the only thing.
Yeah.
I can't explain enough.
It's the healthiest outlet.
It is. And this is why they go hand in hand. You need some mindset resources to start. You need to know that your mind, you need some plans in place. And she was really lucky that I was her best friend, because she was accountable to me to come to class.
Yeah.
And even just coming to class twice a week then led to her knowing that on those days she felt good.
Yeah.
And then if that's the evidence, she went from, if I don't exercise, I have a really bad day. Yeah. So then it's now I'm going to go for a jog. She had dogs. So then it was jogging with the dogs. And if she didn't run with the dogs, she had a bad day. And then it evolved to yoga and breath work. And then it evolved to handstands and play and circus.
And in everyday life, we're exposed to so much more stimulation through screens and even just fluoro lighting, all this extra stimulation. So if you don't have that healthy outlet, you're not going to sleep as well, because it messes, all of the stimulation will mess with the melatonin in your system.
Yeah.
But if you get that good outlet every day, then you'll sleep deeper, you'll restore better, and then you'll have more for the next day. When we're all overstimulated and we're messing with our chemicals in our physiology, and we're not having a healthy outlet, that's when you start seeing people go slightly grey, they get dark rings around the eyes, and then they start aching and stuff. And it really is vitamin D, all of these things just go out the window.
Yeah.
Because you need to move your body regularly. If you don't, that's what's sitting there waiting for you. Depression, anxiety, feeling heavy.
And anxiety is getting more and more and more prevalent in the society because of all of the things that Candy has just mentioned. Overwhelm, stimulation, a lack of an outlet to actually process that anxiety. I like to reframe anxiety to being I'm highly stimulated, or there's a lot of energy running through my system. I experience anxiety quite a bit. Yeah. It's a state. I don't like to label it, and I move to get rid of that. Instead of going, I'm anxious, I'm going to have a pill. Yeah. I'm I'm highly stimulated. I'm going to go outside and shake. I'm going to put on my favorite song and dance. I'm going to breathe and like whatever it is that I need to do to move this energy through me. And these are the things that I'm really passionate about because I know they work. And these are the things that I have a huge desire to infiltrate into the world because actually it's really easy. So it's really easy.
I'm just going to open the front door. Do you want to wind up?
Yes, absolutely. So, for those that are interested in how you can incorporate more movement into your everyday life, please reach out because, as you have seen, it's a huge passion of mine. It is really, really simple to attach small functional movement patterns to activities of your everyday life. So please, if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy movement or exercise, that's okay. As long as you have an end result of being pain-free or having a bit more energy, then movement is the answer. If you're a mum and you want some tips with your bub, please reach out. It's again a huge passion of mine.
And tribe is so important.
And tribe is so important. And yeah, movement for life is all about creating a life that is vital and that we have optimal movement and optimal energy. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Find here.
Thank you, Candy, for having me again.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Comments, ask questions in the comments, and Aimee will get back to you in the following days. Bye for now, guys.
Yay.
Big boy's home early. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
They're not supposed to leave school until 3, but he's like got out somehow. Ashton.
Yeah?
You met my kid.
Okay.
Come say hi.
Lifetime. Hi, Ashton. Do you remember me?
Ashton, this is Orlando. Oh, alright. Hi, dude.
Good.
You guys are into the same thing.
Head of the screen. Head of the screen.
I love Robux.
Love Roblox, do you?
Yeah, I love Robux.
Nice. Yeah, he's a real computer kid, that one.
Yeah, this one too.
Yeah. Got it in him.
What did you do to the back of your leg? You got a big ass bruise on there.
I don't know.
Come here, show me.
What does your tattoo say on the back of your leg, Candy?
It starts up here,
Yeah.
but it's a Leonardo da Vinci quote, and it said, "He who uses his life beneath the quilt leaves no more vestige on earth than smoke in air or foam on water." So vestige is like reputation. It's almost like vestige is like what do you call it? It's the impact that you leave on the world.
Yeah.
It's what you leave behind.
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't get up and leave your mark on the world, you disappear like foam on water or smoke in air. There's no point to living
cool.
unless you leave your mark on the world.
Yeah, beautiful.
Do you like Lily? Yeah, Sarah will be here in a minute.
Cool, I'm gonna eat my sushi.
Oh, come here then.
I'll try again a bit later, or if you feel like it, it's fine.
It's her favourite toy. Do you want one of these yet? No, well, the will go on this kid, eh? Your mum will eat it,
Yeah, I will.
guaranteed.
Thanks. Is that lemon lime? Fuck yeah. So how have you been, babe?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
That's good.
I just got 2 new officers this week post-COVID, so that's been keeping me super busy.
And when you say 2 new officers, is this like you go in there and you help them, you're like...
Oh no, so before COVID I had an office in East Vic Park, It was like there was a psychologist in one room, there's a receptionist at the front, there's like a meditation lady, and I was like the hypnotherapist / NLP person.
Yeah.
Because in between the trainings, I obviously do a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But then during COVID, I started doing a lot on online and like just in my home office here.
Yeah.
But like I started going a bit stir crazy, to be honest, like just constantly at home all the time.
Yeah.
And like I'd go riding every day or like for a walk or some yoga or whatever, but I'm still just like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what it's like a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
these are just offices where you work out of?
yeah, basically, so my wellness centre is just over here. There's a Bowen therapist there. There's, you know, those, what do you call it, access conscious bars.
Yeah.
Don't know, so I probably work on that.
Can I have the Mac?
The what?
The MacBook?
Yeah, I don't know where it is, baby, but if you can find it.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what the charger is. Do you want an icicle?
Yes, please.
My baby looked at me eating one without asking. That was like neck level. Alright.
Yes, please. Thanks.
Is this in the tail? Make sure you're registered. Oh, okay. But yeah.
Hey, darling. Come and give me cuddles.
Do you want a photo?
No, I do. I just turned it around though.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I can take a photo of your face.
So Gabby can get in.
Oh, okay.
Then
Yeah.
she's a dog. She'll have anyone, she will.
Oh, they're so
She just had a bath.
they're
So she's extra soft, that one.
so warm.
Yeah. Should be sunbaking probably.
Yeah, because they get oily because of the lack of hair or something.
It's real gross.
Yeah.
But the kids just take them in the shower.
Yeah. And they quite like
I
it.
hate it.
They hate it.
They tolerate it.
Yeah.
Then like a typical cat would like shred you.
Yeah.
They don't really do that.
Yeah.
But since they're born like that's their normal,
Yeah.
so they tolerate it
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
Pat her here.
Woo.
She likes it.
She likes it down here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
It's very loud when you do that.
Hey.
Do you hear
She's
her?
so chubby.
Yeah, I can feel her too.
Yep. You made her purr.
Oh, you just farted too. Stinky.
You're friends now.
Stinky.
But yeah, so and then how it started actually is my partner lives in Northern. She's a midwife there and she's on call a lot. So between me having kids here and her being on call, like trying to organise catch ups was annoying.
Yeah.
And then she was walking past this pop-up store in Northern. She's like, "Hey, how are you?
Good.
You alright? You know, rough day, babe. You want ice ball?"
Corey's been on ice, so I have to
were crying or something.
Oh no, Corey's in my eyes, so I just had to let the tears come out. Otherwise, Corey would be staying there.
Hi.
You look emotional. I'll ask you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And yeah, Holly was like, "Oh, there's this pop-up shop here for $25 a week, babe." I'm like, "I'm gonna go do one session," and that was like with profit. So I rang the Shire, and the Shire's like, "Oh, you know, I'm not trying to tell you to not bring your business to Northern because we really would love it, but it's a really loud shop and it's probably not appropriate for hypnosis and stuff like that." And I was like, "Cool, this chick understands me and my needs."
Yeah.
And she goes, "But I'd hit up Teresa at the yoga lounge because she has alternative therapies there. Upstairs from the yoga lounge there's offices and she'll probably let you rent out a room."
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive, but still same idea.
Yeah.
And then so I went to meet Teresa and she was lovely. I think you'd vibe with her really nicely.
Yeah.
Major similar values to you.
Yeah.
And then so went there to do yoga and stuff like that. And then being out of home and like going there was really good for my head. Not that it was bad, but I was just excited about working again. Instead of like, oh, people coming over, like, you know, you never really know who's coming, especially if they're a referral. and it's like your home, like you can't
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if there's another yoga lounge around. And there's a lady advertising offices over here, and I was like, hey, she's like, what do you need? And I was like, oh, I'm just looking for, you know, quite a clinic type environment. And she goes, oh, it sounds like you need the wellness centre, and that's how I found these guys.
Okay.
So I started out there last week.
Cool.
So that's been my primary focus at the moment.
How many, how do I get your tap to work?
Just wash your hands off.
Yeah.
And turn that on. And then...
Awesome.
So
you like twice a week in different, how many times a week?
So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes Tuesday I'm in Northam. It changes. Sometimes it's Friday too, depending on when they're with their dad.
Yeah.
But then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes it's Saturday morning in here.
Yeah.
Just by appointment.
Yeah.
So that's been good. Because my next training is in February. So from here through until February, other than putting people in prac,
Yeah.
kind of bored.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I do a little bit of pre-work with them to get them ready for the program. I find the ones that do pre-work with me get a lot more out of the program. Like they really come out of the program bounding.
Yeah.
Because they start to look at where they are now and where they'd like to be months before the program. So they just hit the ground running in the program instead of investigating in the program.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like the people that don't do the pre-work, they kind of tend to come back to me and go, oh, I should have told you this, I didn't tell you about that, I forgot about this. So I really get them super clear before the program.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How many do you normally have in your training?
Depends. Pre-COVID, 10 to 14. Most ever had was 20.
Yeah.
But that was like early days doing it all myself. Now I have staff. Like I've trained staff during COVID. I've had that be my window of opportunity. Because I tried to train staff back in the day when I was a brand new trainer, having busy trainings and training staff at the same time, and I just fucking glitched out.
Yeah.
Totally maxed out.
Yeah.
So I've done my best to retrain myself and not having much on at the moment to getting my staff. Like at the moment, when people want to register into the programs, they have to go through my personal assistant to do their enrollment forms and everything. And I call them to confirm their appointment. They come and do their appointments with me, and then they do the program. But everything before that's now staff members' role.
Yeah.
But before COVID, that was all me.
Yeah.
And then I've got...
Means it tastes good.
Celebrity for it. But now, and I also used to do a lot of like you were around Landmark back in the day, right? So all of the back of the room stuff, the production stuff, I used to do all that by myself. But now I have graduates doing it.
It's so hard running shit by yourself, babe.
Yeah,
like, I don't
I'd
know
be superwoman.
I don't know how you do. Like, and
So,
then,
a shade off of fucking crazy.
Yeah,
how I put it.
yeah. And then go home and just die. Collapse. Yeah.
But no, I used to, the 2 months before a program, get everything ready, and then lead.
Yeah.
Just doing it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But now, the 2 months before a program, I'm doing one-on-ones, and my staff are getting it ready.
Yeah. And then,
So,
well, that's great that you're at that level.
yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be like after COVID. Damn, it stink. Sorry.
I can't smell it this time.
It's probably made its way over here.
Yeah, because the last one fucking stunk.
So I don't know what it's going to be like.
Guess what I learned at school?
What?
God simply love.
That sounds like you're being silly. So yeah, like I was maxed out emotionally with 14 of them. Because like even though most people were great and respectful and